Honor and so excited to be with you tonight. This is State of Search by DFW SEM, our regular monthly meeting, and we have a really cool guest. And if you were at State of Search last year and you ate Cheetos with chopsticks, you may know who it is. Stay tuned.
Hi, welcome to State of Search by DFW SEM. Thank you everyone for joining us. Celebrating 19 years of search engine marketing. Your State of Search by DFW SEM board. I'm President Kevin Adams. Vice President is Tim Shane. Treasurer is Mike Stewart. Secretary is Julie Jones. VP of State of Search and Hospitality is Chris O'Connor. VP of Membership and Registration is Casey Marquis. VP of Sponsorship, Michelle Rory. VP of Communications, Bill Allen, and board members at large, Rachel Black, Jenna Williams, and Jeff Ferguson. If you'd like to participate on a committee with us, talk to a board member or email membership@dfwsem.org. And now, or actually afterwards, if you want to leave a survey, answer a survey, we have dfwsem.org/virtual-meeting-survey. And Chris O'Connor will talk to you about State of Search coming up.
Hey everyone, I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited about State of Search 2023. Everything is falling into place and we are about 30 days out, maybe just right on the cusp of 30 days out. If you have not gotten your ticket by now, holy moly, you better. We're holding on to that discount for one more week. One more week discount of $50 off in-person ticket and $25 off a virtual ticket. So now is the time to register because after that, the ticket prices are going to go up. Now, we have some very exciting things that are going to be happening. And one of them is an after hours party. And it is going to be at the Hotel Vin. And let me tell you what, you don't want to miss this after hours party because we are going to be jamming and having some good time for 2 hours. So get your tickets now. $50 off $397 and $25 off $197, I think it is, something like that.
Yeah.
Go to the website, stateofsearch.org, and register today. Kevin?
Oh, I have seen the venue, and it is going to be fun, a blast. So I'd like to introduce Tim Shane. Many of you know him, a longtime member of DFW SEM and our vice president. He's attended a number of businesses, Better Business Bureau, Bold, Lighthouse for the Blind, Envision Dallas, and for the past few years his creative development agency, Shane Arts, which was the virtual sponsor of State of Search last year and this year. Thank you, Tim. Tim has been in digital marketing since logging in with a 300 baud modem and likes to stay on the cutting edge. He has served as a district manager to president with with the Better Board Member Bureau, the Better Business Bureau, and Shane Arts was just named a finalist of the Yelp Advertising Partners for Best in Client Service. He's also a sharp dresser, has the best shoes, and he likes to eat Cheetos with chopsticks. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Can everybody hear me? Make sure
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Good. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Like Kevin said, I've been participating for over a decade, and I have a hard time picking the exact first year that I attended, but I've got my State of Search mug here, and I cannot think of a single opportunity, a meeting, a speaker, or a conference where I did not get some kind of good actionable information. And I recall listening to excellent speakers who innovated the digital landscape and thinking, I know so little and I've got so much to learn. And now here I am, more than a decade later, still feeling like there's even more to learn. Vice President, as Kevin said, bringing you the trifecta of information that I believe has allowed me to continue to grow and thrive through every obstacle, every position, algorithm update, and new technology. Trust, truth, and transparency. The T trifecta, triple T. And whether I'm working with a team or an organization of my own brand, I deliver results this way. Following these three have allowed me to get the desired results when I engage with folks and not getting the results. Not getting the results that they want, but there are a few action items with trust, truth, and transparency that usually get the items that help them track and get the desired, not just results, but get the desired results that they want. Now, some people, they want results faster. Some of them want them cheaper. Some can get results by cheating. But if you go this route, there's always going to be somebody faster and somebody cheaper, especially how fast technology is innovating. In this digital landscape, we almost all have access to the same tools, the same data, and it's what we do with those tools and how we use them that makes all the difference. My default is to offer the best value at the best price and always keep learning and improving. If someone's doing it cheaper or faster, they may not be able to sustain it. If someone's doing the same thing they've always done, it may be easy to fall into a rut and the competition can innovate around them. Another uncomfortable truth is working harder for less money can make you more vulnerable to burnout and fatigue. Um, so let's begin with trust. So trust goes both ways. If I have a client that's just price shopping or tire kicking or trying to leverage me and my team against others, I usually look at two things. First, where is the trust? Do they seem to trust me? Do I trust them? How does my trust stand up against the entity that's claiming something different than what we're able to offer? There's an old saying that I heard that buyers are liars, and sometimes they're just bluffing to see if there's any room for negotiation. If there's a price shopper or an agency hopper, as you may be familiar with, you most likely don't really want them as a long term client anyway. And there's an old saying that you get what you pay for. Rob Quinn, had an excellent response when people are trying to ask for a better deal, which is if you paid me less, would you trust me more? And then that really reframes the conversation into what we're really talking about. Trust is more than an emotion we feel. It's a commodity that increases and decreases with success and failure. The more trust, the faster buying decisions are made, and sometimes the more time and more money you can get. And if trust is low on any part of the equation, things can take a lot longer. So I'm sure everybody in this group is probably familiar with EAT, or the EEAT, the experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Digital marketing can be challenging. The more expertise and experience one has in delivering successful results, the more trust and confidence both you and your clients has. Hence, EAT, or expertise, experience, authority, and trust. Now, this all boils down to trust, because if you've got the experience, you have to trust the authority that says that you're the expert. And if you've got the experience, that works both ways. It's not just about success, but I trust a lot of folks that have failed and learned from it more than just ones that have straight 5-star reviews. And I'll get into that more in a bit. Um, so if trust is an issue on either side, I may pass on the opportunity and just move on. If you have a client that does not trust you and is constantly wanting to meet and look over your shoulder, you can be missing out on serving a client that really appreciates what you do and gives you the autonomy to get the results in a way that you both can win. Let me also highlight that if you have the ideal client that has trust issues because they've been burned by somebody in the industry, it could be certainly worth it to take the extra time to rebuild that trust and heal some of the damage done. Something I feel my team and I could do better is to get to the potential client and get them to listen to us before they get burned and disillusioned. A lot of times they come to us after they've already tried something or they've had a bad experience and they just don't trust social media, or they don't trust paid search, or they don't trust, content generators, like all of the different things. If usually we can get there, especially if we see that they're about to make an issue or a mistake. Um, a lot of our current clients say, "Man, I just wish that you would have gotten to me a month before, or before, like we got roped into this thing where we have to kind of continually see it through." Um, if I do trust them and they are a client that we want and we're confident that we can help and we want them to trust us, then we proceed to second. What can we learn from this? Is there an opportunity to improve? Most often, I learned the competition is not disclosing vital information, such as maybe they're offering a better price. By offering them a discount that they don't have approval for or they can't sustain for more than a month, the details are not the same. Maybe they're comparing different KPIs and different metrics. Maybe they're looking at projected impression traffic over actual converted leads, which is something I've actually seen done. Sometimes I learn ways to improve. And often a quick investigation demonstrates our talent and knowledge and improves the trust. The client is much more likely to run something by me or my team in the future, rather than having a knee-jerk reaction to a competitor and just putting a competitor putting doubt in their mind. So if I'm delivering the results with the best value at the best price, then trust will build over time. So many of you know that I've worked with Better Business Bureau in a variety of capacities, ranging from a salesperson to a vendor for many of the Better Business Bureaus throughout North America, to being a BBB president for a time. The BBB says start with trust. Now, a question that often comes up, especially among digital, marketers, is what is the difference between just having an online profile with BBB and actually being that BBB accredited business. And our response typically is that an accredited business is voluntarily screened, approved, and monitored, and they sign an agreement to these 8 standards of trust, um, holding itself accountable voluntarily to a higher standard than that of just being legal or compliant. Now, if we take a look at these, the first one is building trust, and then telling the truth, and then being transparent, not necessarily in that order. Um, I often find whenever I'm looking at a client, if they're not a BBB accredited business, I often encourage them to become a BBB accredited business. But those are the kind of values, not only, does BBB look for, but those are the kind of values that I also subscribe to whenever I'm looking for clients, so that we have the same value system. The other ones are advertising honestly, honor promises, being responsive, safeguarding privacy, and embodying integrity. Also, as we just found out this week, this is kind of breaking news. I haven't even gotten all the word out, but Shane Arts was the finalist for Best in Client Services with Yelp. We've been an official Yelp advertising partner, and there's tons of information that we're able to put out there with this. Being able to see when we're learning, if I get a referral from somebody and I'm just using voice search or AI or a digital assistant or other technology, you often see a snapshot of trust online. So it's usually a Google business, Yelp. Sometimes Yelp will appear above the Google Map listings. And then sometimes BBB, and there's other platforms like Nextdoor, House, Angie, some of the other ones that come up there. But usually that trifecta is BBB, Google, and Yelp, not necessarily in that order. But with Yelp, we've been able to be very, very effective when our clients need us for something. They know that we know their business. they're talking to a human. They can get connected to us right away. And Yelp has similar core values. Um, well, so Yelp's core values is to tell the truth. Authenticity is their number one core value. Their others are be tenacious, play well with others, be unboring, protect the source, and community and consumers come first. I'll often encourage clients to just Google on their own. How do I check the reputation of a business? And Google actually serves up BBB and Yelp even above Google business profiles and even above things like your local attorney general's office. So the digital trifecta, like I mentioned before, in the United States would be the Google Business Profile, Yelp, and Better Business Bureau. Outside of the United States, Trustpilot is very big. It's coming to the U.S. and there's other emerging ones as well. Let's see. If you think a person, let's okay. Um, we most often get the desired results that we want if somebody's trying to rank for a specific keyword or phrase. When we can get Google, BBB, and Yelp all in harmony, we usually get the right results. Now, let's say you're an industry where you may be an A plus as a BBB accredited business with several 1-star reviews on Yelp and Google. There's a chance that the folks may still keep looking for better options. Now, maybe you think the person's just not paying enough money to Google or Yelp, and they just believe in paying a nonprofit like the Better Business Bureau, but they're still not all lining up. So let's say if you want to see the influence of Better Business Bureau on digital SEO, let's say they have an F rating. So the company has an F rating with the BBB, and there's hundreds of 5-star reviews on Google and Yelp. You may still be skeptical. So let's say that there's a BBB business profile and they are not Better Business Bureau accredited, but there are some verified 1-star reviews on Google and Yelp. But on Nextdoor or at their Chamber of Commerce, they're excellent. There's still going to be some hesitation. So in my experience, when they are BBB accredited and they've got access to the seal, they have decent page enhancements on Yelp, and their Google business profile looks like somebody's paying attention to make it the best situation. Not an AI algorithm like kind of keeping up with it, but somebody that is making sure that their hours are on point. They're using the new Google features that come up, and if they give enough of a budget to maybe do an enhanced listing placement, then we could be very strategic and do even more. Um, Let me just also say, because this comes up a lot, that if they do not have an A plus with the Better Business Bureau, or maybe all their reviews are not 5 stars on Yelp or Google or any of the platforms, sometimes it could look too perfect and seems too good to be true. Um, I saw a stat, I believe it was with the Transparency Company, which was one of the State of Search sponsors and a previous speaker, that a lot of times if you have multiple 5-star reviews, like hundreds or thousands of them, 50% of people do not trust those profiles, but they'll trust one that's a little bit more authentic or realistic, or using this tool, some that are verified. So when you're using this multi-platform approach, it helps so that there's not an end to the review if you get a 1 or 4-star in one particular platform, or if a business is too new to actually have realistically earned hundreds of 5-star reviews or an A plus with BBB. Now, if they're an international company that's outside of the USA, they're often familiar with Trustpilot over Yelp. I believe Trustpilot's publicly traded on the London Stock Exchange, and Yelp is publicly traded. You can check their Yelp, check their stock just by Googling Yelp and see if it's going up or down. They've continued to be growing, and thriving over the last several years. Now, of the three, trust, truth, and transparency, I suggest if you're going to pick one to start, always start with trust. However, you can jump on any of the other two or all three as appropriate. So, trust is the foundation of many other aspects as well. when I was just a little bit younger. I was proud to earn the rank of an Eagle Scout. If there's any Boy Scouts, like out there, maybe you might be aware of the Scout laws. Does anybody know the first one? In the chat, does anybody want to take a shout out at it? I don't see any on there like right away, but the first one's trustworthy. Our money actually says, "In God we trust," and there's several other times where trust actually comes out to be a little bit difficult. For example, if an attractive person sends me an unsolicited friend request on social media, or I answer my phone to an unknown phone number and I'm met with silence, a couple weird sounds, and then I'm transferred to a loud call center in another country, I'm probably going to be cautious. There's probably going to be some red flags. However, if I do become too jaded, I may miss a valuable connection or an important phone call. In the digital space, many of you have to build trust after a client's been burned by a digital marketer or one of the other platforms, or they felt that they could have been more honest or upfront, or you would be able to do more for them if they distrusted you just a little bit more. So remember, trust is going to be a leap of faith on both sides. Trust is a commodity, and the more trust there is on both sides, the faster the results usually happen. With it being a trust, important disclosure, I'm not receiving any commissions, kickbacks, or shout outs or affiliates or anything like that on any of these books. I'm just sharing these with you so that you can get some other voices that support this approach in more detail. It's also a process. Just because trust was high on one client interaction does not mean you can take it for granted. I have many books, but I have these three books on my Audible and listen to them whenever I'm traveling. Um, I need a friendly, candid reminder. Sometimes too, another sponsor from last year and my signed book from State of Search is Trust Signals. So this is a fantastic book right here. Scott Baradell with Idea Grove, based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, I believe. Um, did an excellent book that kind of outlines this and gives you some things to think about as you're going through your campaign list or going through your results and wondering what could we be doing better. Learned a lot. Some of the stuff are things that but when you hear it again in a different voice, it certainly helps out that way. Also, The Speed of Trust by Covey's son, Stephen M. R. Covey, is also an excellent book, too, that makes it so that you can actually measure the commodity of trust and how fast you can get a transaction done. And then, of course, a book called Radical Candor, which I love this, and you may be wondering why radical candor, what that has to do with trust, truth, or transparency. And an uncomfortable truth is most people can't handle the truth. They don't want to hear it. They will come up with entirely different realities in order to have to deal with the truth, including ourselves. When I was teaching college, the truth meant that which is true or accordance with factor reality. Today, we live in a world where everyone seems to have their own truth, wants you to hear them speak their truth, and sometimes that truth may be different than your truth or reality. Now, Scott's book once again, giving another shout out to that one, um, is post brand building in a post truth world. And so, what does that mean? Like what is true? There are digital marketers love throwing out the H1 titles as true just to get attention. And are they true? So content is king. SEO is dead, which I've been seeing, I think, since my first year of State of Search. I threw in the world is flat there, not to get political. If there's any flat earthers, like out there watching. But it's a great segue into like what is our truth, and many things are true. I love the Obi-Wan here from a certain point of view, and I do my best to find my clients in the same truth or reality, or at least compatible. We have two ears and one mouth, which means that we should listen more than we speak, twice as much as we speak. We seek first to understand, then to be understood. Many times, when you're not getting the results you want, it may be because you do not believe entirely in what you're selling, or you find clients, products, or services that you can believe in, and those people will trust you to help market their truth. If you have a client whose truth is based on the earth being flat and you believe otherwise, there's a good chance it's just not going to work out. Also, be aware that being associated with a client that has a different truth that's not compatible with yours can also damage other and future client, relationships. I was working with one of the largest media companies in the world, and my team was having a huge amount of success over the teams in other parts of the world. And one thing that really stuck with me was getting feedback of, "You're getting these results by telling the truth, and you did all of this without lying or withholding information." And so, a couple things too is, when you're dealing in the United States, I mean, we have, like a certain code of ethics and advertising, but that's not true everywhere in the world. Um, and so, when it comes to sales and marketing, my truth is that you can't afford marketing without sales. Sales comes first. And if you don't have sales first feeding that marketing budget, then there's not going to be a budget for very long. Many have an aversion to sales because they've been in a culture where salespeople lie or say whatever they want in order to close a sale. I make a point with my clients where the pick clients where I never have to lie. What I'm selling and marketing may not be for everybody, but for my team, we can rest assured at the end of the day that we're building trust by telling the truth. Now, I believe everyone is in sales, and either you're selling someone your truth or you're buying someone's truth. Um, if you do work on or believe in your truth, if you do not work on or believe in your own truth, you may be vulnerable to other people selling you their truth. And I didn't always believe this, but that's why I believe it's a continual process. If your truth is harmonious with your job or your client's truth, you're probably going to be getting good results. Do you feel good when you're helping someone else get what they want? Do you believe in something that you're selling and marketing? I don't have any of the surveys or anything like that, but if you're having to sell something that you don't believe in with your heart and soul, it makes it very, very difficult. If your sales are not where they are, take a quick assessment of the feelings, not just of the clients, but also of your team. Sometimes you can have clients that are harmonious with the truth, but maybe somebody in the middle got sold on another truth and is a bit jaded, and they could be breaking the connection. So, those of you or anyone that's listening that's thinking, uh oh, that's me, remember, this is a process. When I'm onboarding team members, there's a lot to take in. How they feel is very, very important, and how they help the clients feel. Potential clients, current clients, that's all a very important part of what we do that I think helps makes us successful. So here are a few of my truths, if I can share. Google, and this is something that I got from one of the State of Search conferences a few years ago. Google would rather be an AI answer engine instead of a marketing search engine. Google changes the updates and algorithms and technology because people cheat and find a way to game the system. So if you ask Google a question and the answer comes back as not true or accurate, then Google knows the user may start to doubt Google and trust it less. Google is going to innovate and update. I always want us to be part of the solution and not part of the reason that they need to update their algorithm. The truth is, for our team at Shane Arts, when we engage with people, the most of the people that we're talking to do not like Google, do not like BBB or Yelp. We typically have to build their trust by seeking to understand their truth first. There are many case studies where we can show by understanding the story behind their business, we were able to market them better than just getting into a bidding war on paid search. In 2022, I asked people on a team, if you find anyone that likes Yelp, I want to do an interview with them. And we talked to about 2,000 businesses a day on average with the people on the team. I found 5 people that loved Yelp. Most of them didn't fully understand how it worked. They felt like they got burned by it. They asked somebody to leave a review, and then Yelp filtered the review out, or they spent money and they didn't understand the back end of it. So, usually, by listening to where they're coming from and how Better Business Bureau, Google, or Yelp might be able to help them get in front of the right people at the right time has really, really changed things around. But they wouldn't listen to us if they didn't trust us. Um, so maybe we have to help understand their truth. And sometimes Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Google, maybe that's paid search. That's not the answer. And maybe they need to have someone that have radical candor with them and educate them on what they need to do. Another great thing that I think is very unique about our team is a number of them are actors, some are filmmakers, artists, and performers, and they're used to putting their heart and soul into the interpretation of a play or a song. And back in the day, there would be trained, educated, and respected critics that would give us reviews. Like in the DFW area, there was like the Dallas Morning News and the Observer and the Star Telegram. And the reason why I'm here and not on strike in Hollywood right now is because, I paid attention to some of those authentic, real reviews. Um, I still very much enjoy indulging my creative side. I still act. I still write shows. We still travel the country, doing things like interactive murder mysteries and those kind of things. Um, and um, I'm still very much if I measure my I call it entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship, but for artists. If I measured my entrepreneurship based on the reviews, I probably wouldn't have a very high opinion of myself. However, if I measured it based on the box office and the things that we were able to do, um, that's typically what kept us going, and myself included. And sometimes when we had a hit show that got all rave reviews, sometimes that's the show that would have half the venue empty. So um in this world too, where everybody just automatically expects that they're just always getting always 5-star reviews, and they try to work the system. So if somebody is like, oh, I think that's a 4-star, or maybe they never leave a review on another platform anywhere, and so then that review doesn't carry so much weight. um, it definitely is a different world. And if you go into a place and have less than a 5-star experience, do you want to be that person that leaves the 4-star review and gives them something real and authentic, and then that gets filtered out? So one of the things too I look at in the truths is, reviews matter because they're being engaged, but the fact that you're a 5-star review, like over, like maybe a 4-star review, I think we put way too much emphasis on that. And as long as it's true, I don't want to take anything away from people that are legitimately 5-star reviews. But because there's so many ways of gaming that system, it makes people throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if you're ever on the fence about like, hey, this person can write me some fake reviews, just don't ever do that. Um, let's see. If you're being true to yourself, not everybody's going to love you. Um, but you'll have space to make room for those that do, and those that do, whether they're clients or in your personal life, will make it all worth it. The important thing is that you know your truth. And so this too, this was an example of where we went from true to this kind of like idea of truthiness, which wasn't, it's the quality of seeming to be true according to one's intuition, opinion, or perception, without regard to logic, factual evidence, or the like. Which this was the word of the day in 2018, but in 2023, I feel there's a lot more of this out there. And in the digital landscape, there's a lot of cognitive bias. So we do have to make sure that we're always operating from a place of integrity and trust, truth, and transparency. And then that leads us, of course, to transparency. So let's say you have a client that says someone else is promising them that they're going to be on the top page of Google, guaranteed, or their money back. Now you could be transparent, like about how that might be the case if they had a different budget. That might be the case if they don't mind being disavowed or invisible, like after Google catches them. Or you can also be transparent about maybe you don't know like how they would possibly do it, and so having that open minded instead of just saying no or I'll change my price or any of those things. Avoid doing that because it's very hard to build the trust back up after that. Another thing about being transparent, it's a hot topic right now, is if you're going to use artificial intelligence in any way to create, I feel you're okay as long as you are transparent about what you're using the AI for and what you're using humans to do. I've learned with all of this talk about AI that for us, it's been a huge advantage of our quality assurance. And by telling people, that our AI is helping us with our calls, it's telling me how many times I say in a presentation. It gives me pointers on what I could do better or what could be improved. I've noticed that's a lot better than having humans do that same job, because when humans are doing the same job, they may get tired, they may have favorites, they may have people that they don't like that are being extra hard on, in quality assurance. So for us, it's been a game changer, and putting that in its right place has been huge. But to use an AI voice to call somebody and that's their first impression of us or the client that we're representing is not a good place, and so if we're saying, oh yeah, we're going to have 20 people on the phones but they're not people thinking and engaging and getting the feel of the emotional intelligence on the other side, and they think that they're paying for that, um, then that's something too that I think that we should be transparent about, and just be transparent about our feelings about where we are in emerging technologies, so that they don't think that we're the kind that are just stuck in the rut and not looking at the future. Okay, so I think it's been a little over 30 minutes. I just have a couple takeaways, action items, which is to trust and be trustworthy. I know it sounds simple and basic. We've probably been taught it as we're kids, but if you go through and listen to like those audible books or just think of different things that you could do, you'll probably find there's a ton of opportunities in every organization to be more trustworthy. Take some time and know your truth. On the for This is State of Search for by DFW SEM. A lot of times as digital marketers, we're so focused on our clients' truth that sometimes we erode our own and we forget what's important to us. And that disconnect, sometimes we don't know why, but we're tired and we're burnt out. We don't want to do that, and stuff anymore. It's because we've got to take time to nurture ourselves and know our own truth. Third is listen to others when they tell you their truth. That's their truth, and in today's world, that's their multiverse like reality. So, like, listen to all of it, and if it's you don't have to get into a fight or conflict with them. But if it's not compatible, don't bring that person on. Don't take their money. A lot of these review platforms too, like it does not count if you've never signed a contract or exchanged money. So if somebody is calling and they want you to be their landscaper and you don't return their call or give them a bid or sign a contract with them and not show up or whatever the case is, that's not a legitimate review. They were never actually a client. So take that time. That could save you a lot of trouble. Choose your clients as much as you choose you. When I started working with Better Business Bureau and I asked businesses that have been in business like 50 years and longer, with no issues, what's their secret? And that is the number one thing that they always told me, which is it's not so much as the clients choosing them, it's them finding their right clients. Be transparent And once again, know the process: trust, truth, and transparency. Just make sure that you've always got all three of those, and then you should be good. All right, that is it. I'm Tim Shane, Shane Dash Arts. Also, you can go to T3 Results for trust, truth, and transparency, and follow us on social media and come to State of Search. I'll see you there.
All right. Great
Yeah.
job, Tim.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
One of our own gave an awesome presentation. So how many of you have questions and on truth? How many of you have thought of it that way, and transparency? I think it's so important in business and as a digital marketer now that you show that to your clients and you show that to the world. And when you do, it's amazing what things can happen for you. So what questions does everybody have? Anything? Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, how do you deal with you see someone else doing something that's untrustworthy in the industry, and like, do you go and tell the customer, like, hey, warning, this could happen, or like, is
That's
that a
great-
buyer beware?
Warning.
Yeah, no, great question. And two, that's something that we've been doing a little bit new, because at first I would be like, no, like that's like Star Trek and the Prime Directive. That's not our client. That's not our battle. But when it started doing so much damage to our industry, as we know, if somebody's doing unethical and digital marketing, it just makes people distrust all digital marketers. So a lot of times what we've been doing is having the bandwidth on the latter part of the week to like go and find things, reach out authentically, not like with robocalls of saying like, there's a problem with your Google listing. It's like your car's extended warranty, but reach out and say, hey, we're calling about this is what we see. Take 15 minutes, and this is something that other clients that we have in other parts of the country say that they wish that they would have heard sooner. And having that, just 15 minutes, not roping them into a timeshare presentation or some long meeting, but just to be able to see like, oh, and sometimes it doesn't result in them coming on as a client right then, but it does show that our heart and our passions are in the right place. And we do believe in this, and we do seek the client out. That would be an ideal client. We don't just call everybody, we find folks that also would match our truth.
I think it goes back to you have to give in order to receive, right?
Oh, I like that.
You have to give in order to receive. And if you're not willing to give, then you can't receive freely. And I have found in my travels over the years through business and now being out on my own in digital marketing is you have to give, and you have to be transparent, and you have to show people what can be done, because like you said, Tim, there is so much fraud out there. It's amazing the fraud I get through Facebook and how many people get sucked in to all this stuff and these emails and that we're gonna take you down, or we're gonna delete you, or we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do that, and people click that link, and then you are just a goner, right? So if I could have a word of advice to anybody, most of that, 99.9% of it, is spam. And they've either misspelled something, or their English isn't correct, or just actually read it out loud and you'll see how bad it can be. But don't trust that. If you're really doing something bad, Facebook will find you. Not that way, but they'll find you. Yelp will find you. YouTube will find you. They'll all find you. So I just think it's so critical. And especially now that we're going into a holiday season, right, Tim?
That's right.
And isn't that when fraud really, really grows, is because people aren't paying attention? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
The worst part
definitely.
about those emails are that is Facebook isn't that nice. They don't give that kind of warning.
No, they don't.
You're about to be taken down. It's like, wait, I can't log into my Facebook page. What's going on? All right.
That's
Um,
that's very, very
yeah.
true. They aren't that nice, and they don't give you a heads up, and they don't give you a warning. They just make it happen. Then you're like, what the heck happened? And you got to go figure it out. So anyways, I thought it was a great conversation and a great presentation, Tim, and we're really happy that you came and did this for us today. I know it was short notice, and I sure hope you guys share this with your friends out there, and you've got a way to reach out to him. He's a wealth of knowledge, and I hope that you do, because he certainly understands truth, trust, and transparency.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, I got one for got a little bit of time if I can hold
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
So when you go out of your way and you do that, do you feel like find that tends to attract more of the people that are gravitate towards someone who's like trustworthy, and versus someone who goes, you know what, I want to avoid like, you get fewer of the people that are less trustworthy that way?
It's very hard. But one of the things that I looked at when I was looking, especially too when Yelp was doing the awards, for best of core values and best in client service, and we started to get some of the feedback. I started realizing too, we can't just be apathetic. And if it's something where we see that we can help, then we certainly reach out. We're in a place too where we take care of our clients first. Like if they come on and they're a client, we watch out for them. But if we start to see it someplace else and it's not hurting anybody, but we see they're about to make a mistake that's going to make them wish they didn't do that, then that's when we reach out.
That
Does that answer the question?
yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, but gotta say, I love the comment about like you got 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
I wish I learned that lesson.
I didn't come up with that. I think that's Zig Ziglar. I think is the one that said
Oh,
that. But it's always good.
my mother and father used to say that to me before Zig Ziglar even
Oh,
came on the
really?
market.
Okay,
So,
good. Yeah,
yes,
I
God
can't
gave you
take credit
2
for that.
ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Awesome.
So you have anything else?
I
No,
don't think
thanks,
so.
Casey,
Casey
for
said
the
you did a
shout
great
out.
job.
Yeah, thank you so
Uh,
much from
Great job.
California. Awesome.
Yeah.
I thank you so much, Tim. It's been great, and thank you everyone for joining us. Look forward to seeing you guys at State of Search Conference, and have a wonderful night. Love you guys.
Yes.
Thank
Get
you.
your tickets today.